guys, Tomboy601, and today we are in the Avari, the all-new Tier 5 tech tree destroyers for the Italians. It's the first one we featured on the channel, but we'll be going through a good chunk of them. Currently have all of the ones that were available in early access. I was able to, one Wargaming gave me tiers 2 through 6, and then I was able to pick up tier 7 through the random bundles. But I figured tier 5 is probably a good place to start with kind of going over what these ships are about, because they're unique, they're special. There's a certain thing about them. You're gonna have to get used to them. So what do you need to know? Well, usually you have about the health of a torpedo boat for the class. You have torpedoes that are not the best in range or damage. You have guns that are incredibly long on the reload, but you do have the option for SAP, which means they can hit like a truck, especially to fellow destroyers. And, well, you have two unique consumables for destroyers. The first one being a exhaust smoke, similar to the battleship, so it doesn't linger for very long. It puffs out for a longer amount of time. And then you have a speed boost. And combine all these things together, and you have some very interesting characteristics. Oh, one last thing that I forgot to talk about. You have terrible concealment. Absolutely, incredibly stealthy cruiser levels of concealment. Ours is 7.1 kilometers. Of course, we are not running any concealment perks, nor are we running a camouflage at the moment, so of course that could always take it down. But getting over to the gameplay, you can see we've kind of isolated ourselves with a Fubuki, which I think is a prime target for this boat. Nice low health, just like us, except we have, as you saw, some incredibly powerful guns to go after him. We are going to go ahead and charge the smoke. We're doing this for a couple of reasons. One, if we can force him out, we can go ahead and engage him. And one thing you'll notice, his torpedo launchers are moving. So for us, that means we need to nose in and start playing with the throttle. It's not optimal for our DPM, but it is optimal for our survivability. He has 2 torpedo tubes out. We're looking for that last one. There's his last one. We've now dodged all of them successfully, and we should be able to roll off of this. There we go. Pick up the first blood. That's exactly what we want. Back to concealment. So, we have 7.1 kilometer concealment. Good news is that's about where you want to engage boats in. The guns are fairly accurate. They're not the most accurate, but they're pretty accurate. But you don't have the most range in them, and your torpedoes don't have much more range, as you can see currently on that indicator when we view over with the torpedoes. Between our concealment and our damage range, not much in there. Of course, I think the torpedoes can be upgraded a little bit, and you'll see that throughout the Italian lines, but you kind of have to play around the concealment. You can see we're kind of skirting the edge here. That is until we picked up the Ranger, and at this point, we're just going to go ahead and try to engage that Ranger. He's going to be the biggest threat to us throughout this game, and if we can go ahead and eliminate him, then it's going to make our lives a bit easier, and we pick up a Citadel on the Ranger, because I guess SAP has just that much pen. We're going to go ahead and hit the engine boost, try to close the gap, close the distance. You can see it is incredibly strong engine boost, right? We're going to near 45 knots by the time this engine boost is all said and done, but it is very short lasting. It's a very good get out of jail free. There's kind of 2 ways I've been using the engine boost. The first one is if I know I'm going to be in a 1v1 destroyer contest, and I know that and I've been spotted. One thing you can do is use that engine boost, especially when you have a destroyer that just plainly outspots you, is you can use, once you get spotted, use that engine boost, kick it into gear to close the distance between you and that other destroyer. That can be useful. The other thing is sort of a rapid response, a sort of, okay, we've dealt with this threat over here. I see where I need to get to next. Let me have an all-out sprint that's going to get me in that area, because the Italian destroyers We haven't hit a torpedo yet, but the torpedoes are harassment torpedoes. They do not have the alpha to really like YOLO rush or do anything like that. They are more in the style of the torpedoes of the Pan Asians. They just don't, I don't feel like, have the speed or the accuracy of those. So you kind of have to just kind of throw them out there and hope that your torpedoes get on target, and that leaves you to the guns, which is why I should probably say we are running Luigi Rizzo. I found running these as a gunboat feels like the only viable way. Unfortunately, I think if there's a little bit more alpha strike DPM on the torpedoes, I feel like we could have a possibility of a tort boat on there. But as it stands, the only way I've really found decent success with these boats is to build full into reload and full into the SAP. If you come up against these boats, one of the things that you can do to throw them off if they are using SAP is just bow in. Just bow in. It is incredibly hard to get the SAP to pen and arm when a destroyer is bow in. When they're flat broadside, that's when you get the giant chunks of damage off. So that's kind of my tier. Anyways, we're using that engine boost now as sort of that response. We've kind of cleared out the area that we spawned on, but we can see the biggest threat is probably going to be those two destroyers. So we're going to try to intercept them because they're either heading towards the rest of our battleships right now, or they're heading to our cap. Either way, we want to get south. We're also going to go ahead and dump these torpedoes in the path of the Arizona, see if we can get a hit. Fubuki off at half health over there, which tells us we're going to have a little bit of extra time, but I still kind of want to be a picket for the rest of my team on these other destroyers. And we can go ahead and just throw torpedoes as we get them online. As I said, relatively short reload time on those torpedoes, so they can be used to toss them out there. But you're going to see we're going to get a hit here on the Fuso, and you're going to see just how little alpha there really is in these torpedoes. Here it comes. One boop on the nose, and that's 5,000. So we have 6 torpedoes total. That's 30,000 hit points. You can YOLO rush a cruiser, but that's probably not going to end well for you. That's just the thing with the Italians. You kind of have to get used to it. Anyways, Fuso, very low in health. We're going to go ahead and start engaging him using our smoke right here. Unfortunately or fortunately, we end up taking him out, and this is going to serve another purpose. We've kind of now set up a bright neon sign saying, hey, guess what? We're right here. Come look at us, other destroyers. And hopefully by the time we exit the smoke, the other destroyers will be within view, and then we can begin to engage them. And just as that works out, there is the Fubuki at 4 kilometers away. Let's go ahead and just melt him down again. And we see on the radar that we do also have another enemy destroyer. We're going to turn out, try to angle away from him. I forget what he is at this moment, but hitting the Fubuki is a bit more important. Sadly, we don't get the kill on the Fubuki, but now we can turn around and engage, what is it? A Farragut. Cool. Another a gunboat. And you can see the strength of the Italian destroyers at that sort of 7 kilometer range, where I think our gun firing angles are pretty good. Like our shell velocities are pretty good for us to be able to engage the destroyers at this range, where you can see the Farragut shells, the American floaty shells, are having trouble with us right here. Right, he is struggling to hit us at the current moment. Just a little bit of maneuvering is doing a fairly good job of mitigating any damage he would have. He definitely had the health and the damage advantage going into that, and we're gonna walk out with the finish at 3 kills. One last 2 ships left. Arizona is probably going to be our focus. He's focused on other people, so we can just go ahead and start harassing him with the SAP. And the SAP is pretty fantastic. Like you can see, we've pretty much stuck to it. The HE is pretty great too. You can use it mainly. The HE, what I've been using it for is if I get a hit on a battleship with torpedo that causes a flood and they DC it, then I can kind of return and use the HE to try to start a fire to get a permafire, and then just kind of use your judgment. In this case, American battleships, they tend to have a lot of lightly armored section in that superstructure. So the SAP is actually surprisingly effective at whittling them down for being a destroyer. Like usually you wouldn't see those sorts of damage numbers out of destroyer shells, but you know, 1,500 damage every couple seconds is pretty decent for, I think, a destroyer. But guys, that is the Italian destroyers. Kind of a first look at them. Like I said, I think they are a very difficult class to play. I think you're going to have to get used to them, and I think they could probably use a little bit of tuning to make them a bit better. But guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.